I'm 6,000 miles away right now, managing my Turo fleet from Japan. I'm going to be here for an extended period of time, roughly around 3 months, and I wanted to go over how you can actually turn your fleet into a business instead of just being an operator that's stuck with a job. Something that we've talked a lot about, and I think this is arguably the most important part, is making sure that you have created a system so that way it's not dependent on you. And apologies in advance if it still sounds like I have a cold. I'm at the tail end of it, but it is what it is. I'm powering through. So first, you want to make sure that you're handling and managing remote pickup and drop-offs. So for us, we use a lockbox. I'm going to put that one on the screen. The link is in the description below if you want to get the one that I use. It is an affiliate link, just as a heads up. You know, you're not going to pay extra for it, but it does help support the channel. Totally optional. I don't like using those Bluetooth ones that I can actually manage remotely and change the key and the code and all that. I prefer the good old-fashioned rolling 3 or 4 digit combo lock boxes because those don't break. You don't have technology problems. You really need boots on the ground if you have a technology problem with that thing. However, if you are just using a good old-fashioned 3-pin lock, generally speaking, you don't have a problem with that. So that's why I generally tend to prefer those, and the ones that I have been, I wouldn't say bulletproof, but they've been working pretty good for me. So I always recommend that. We've actually had our Ford F-150 literally drive over one, and it still worked. So that's why I can't recommend those things enough. I think they're absolutely fantastic. So again, highly recommend. Definitely look at that lockbox. We also use bouncy trackers in all of our cars. Here's the Amazon posting for one. Bouncy trackers are good. They are OBD2 port ones, so you do want to take that into consideration. If you're using an OBD2 port, it is easy enough for somebody to just unplug it from the car. So if somebody really wanted to steal your car, and I guess they knew about those types of trackers, you may run into an issue. So if you want to look at hardwire ones, you can. For me, because as you know, we're running a low-end economy model, it just doesn't make sense. So I prefer to just have the OBD2 port tracker. So yeah, I think we pay about $7 or $8 a month for the bouncy subscription, and never really had any problems with it. Ironically, the people who have actually stolen our cars haven't been smart enough to actually check the OBD2 port, so we've always been able to catch them anyway. So those are kind of the two products that are really essential to managing your fleet remotely. And this is even in America, just not having to be there all the time to meet your guests, to know where your cars are. And one pro tip, don't micromanage your fleet. If there's a problem, go ahead and check and see where they are. But don't go in and like, oh, gee, I wonder where my car is. Hey, it's in Canada. Oh, my other car's in Mexico. Oh, this one's in California. Oh, my God. Don't go down that road. I've found absolutely no benefit to micromanaging your fleet like that. But moving towards the most important steps, this is getting actual boots on the ground people who can help you. Now, for me, the two things that I needed more than anything was cleaning and mechanics. So for me, I needed to find somebody who could clean my vehicles. And of course, because I guess you could say I have trust issues, I didn't want just one, so I got 2 people to do that. And essentially, what I did was, originally, we were taking our cars to a cleaner, to the car wash down the street, less than a mile away from where our office is, which is our pickup and drop-off location. Now, the manager there and I had become somewhat friendly because we're bringing the business of like 12 cars there. And I think everything boils down to network and community and who you know and who can help you and stuff like that. So aside from emphasizing the importance of a network or community, I started talking to him, and he personally would just vent like he wishes he could pick up some money on the side. He wants to get into Turo one day, all this. So I said to him, like, look, I don't mind sharing some information. If you have questions about the fleet, I could help you set yours up if you want. It never got to that point yet, but Anyway, I need help cleaning the cars. We're literally a mile down the road. Can we work something out where I could pay you per car? And we worked it out, $20 to clean a car. And, we try to batch it together as much as we can. And it doesn't always work out, but sometimes I got to go for one car. Sometimes I get to go for 5 or 6. So it all evens out at the end of the day. We usually have 2 or 3 for them. And then he knew somebody else who worked there, so he was able to bring her on. So then now we have 2 cleaners. And we do have some hiccups periodically where sometimes we're not able to get the cars cleaned right away. But for the most part, if a car comes back, say Monday, by Tuesday morning, it's usually cleaned. So generally speaking, I'm pretty happy with that. Compared to last year when we had no cleaners and we traveled, sometimes we had to wait multiple days. We had no cleaners. It was just a big process and did not work out well for us. So definitely you need to look into a cleaning solution. I know they have, pardon the wind, I know they have some programs like TaskRabbit and other places where you can hire people to do basic freelance tasks and chores. So you probably could look on there, know you're going to pay a premium. If you're looking at trying to use like a mobile detailing company, I think you're going to be a little cost prohibitive. And I only say that because I don't know. How much cheaper can you get a car professionally detailed, even if you're looking at like 80 or $100? It's just not going to happen. So I would shy away from that. If you can, try to get somebody, local college kid, somebody who works at one of these places looking for a side hustle, something like that, I think will be a lot better. You want to make sure that you have a mobile mechanic, and we've gone through this many times on the channel. So I found my mobile mechanic on Facebook Marketplace. I was just Googling mobile mechanics near me, and him and another one came up, and I chose him because the other guy had said that he would do it, but he wouldn't come for like an oil change or a flat repair. He only wanted to come if it was a bigger job, like brakes or, suspension, check engine light, something like that, which I totally understand. The only problem is sometimes I need an oil change. So the other guy was willing to come out and do whatever, very friendly, and he's taking care of us, really good guy. So Facebook Marketplace, I had good luck. Just search for mobile mechanic. Beyond that, I guess you could Google too in your area, see what you can come up with. I'm not sure if they have like a landing page like a lot of the mechanic shops have, but that is huge. We also talked to one of the mechanics that we use at a gas station, who's very good. We love him. He's been working with us for a while now. And since I knew I was traveling, I was talking to him about it, and he did say if I need him, he'd be happy to run over, because it's also like a mile and a half from where he is. He would run over, pick up the car, and do the maintenance, and we've had to do that a few times. So having that backup really has helped. And then, of course, if you're going to really take this seriously, redundancy is always going to be key. And by that, I mean, just because I have 2 mechanics, I have 2 cleaners, I still want to have a true, like, business-minded operator that's there in the background. For me, that's worked out because one of the people who bought a couple of cars in our fleet that invests with us is my father. So if we really had an emergency, something happened, somebody with an ownership mentality is there that I could speak to, that I trust. And of course, it doesn't have to be family. It ends up probably being less expensive because it's family, or if it's somebody who has invested with you, than it is to bring on somebody who is truly an operator. Our fleet's not at the size yet where we can really afford to hire a dedicated person to handle the fleet. So for the most part, we've been able to manage it no problem. Now, when it comes to communication with guests, that's where things get a little dicey when you're on the opposite side of the world. We are 14 hours time difference from where our fleet is, so that is substantial. When our guests are enjoying the afternoon, we are fast asleep. So that is something that definitely has to be overcome. And for us, all that means is making sure that our automated messaging is on point, which thankfully it's pretty locked in. The only thing that we have encountered is sometimes people have a question when they show up to the office, the parking lot, to get the car. And sometimes they'll have a question, is this the right car? Am I here or whatever? And those messages generally go unanswered because we're not there. So we thought about getting a virtual assistant, but we've discovered we really don't need it yet. We're not at that point where I think it's actually important to have one, or rather it's still cost prohibitive. For the most part, whenever those questions come up, usually within 30 seconds to a minute after they send us the question, they're like, oh no, never mind, I figured it out, thanks. So far it hasn't been too big of a deal. We do have in our automated messaging that we are traveling right now, and if there is an absolute emergency, contact Turo support, or if it's something that's wrong with the vehicles, please contact, and we put my father's number there. So we really have not had any major problems, but that is how we've been able to stave off and run our fleet remotely. Now, compared to last year when our fleet was run just by my father, that's not the case anymore. But back then, we literally made, I would say a third of revenue of what we've made now that we have these systems in place. And of course, it's not perfect yet, but this is where we're at so far and how we've been able to adapt and survive. So, what's your dream city? Where do you want to go if you're going to travel? You know, if I could do this in Japan, you could do this from anywhere in the world. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your dream city is, and let's start working towards making that a reality, all right? Anyway, as you know, I'm Brandon. Leave a comment down below, your dream city. Give this video a heart, thumbs up, whatever you got to do. Subscribe to the channel. Stick along for the journey. This is how we do it, and we're continuing to make dreams a reality. Take care, everybody.